Welcome back, W2 Prison Break Nation. This is the W2 Prison Break Show, the podcast to help you fire your boss and become the CEO of your own business in under 12 months. Thanks for tuning in today. Today, we're going to talk about getting you off the hamster wheel as a solopreneur. Look, I made this mistake. I've seen countless others make this mistake. And I want to just walk through and share some stories and share some insights that I have personally experienced and some of the clients that I've coached personally who are a one woman or a one man show, solopreneurs. First of all, let me just start off by saying that if you are in business for yourself, you know that I love that. It's something that a lot of us have aspirations for. And first of all, congratulate yourself for taking the leap from W2 to entrepreneurship. Great stuff. Most people will never make that leap. And I want you to congratulate yourself. However, I want to help you because I went through this struggle of feeling like I was on the hamster wheel, just not making any progress whatsoever and just getting caught up in tasks, daily tasks. And unfortunately, I had become a W2 employee inside of my business, which is the exact opposite of why I left my W2 job. I wanted to have time and freedom. I didn't want to be working more in my business than I did when I was flying 100,000 miles a year working for somebody else. Okay, here's mistake number one. And I think a lot of us think that because we are the expert, right? We're the smart one. We started the business. We're the CEO of the business, that nobody else can do it better than we can. And while that may be true, it doesn't matter. You do not need to be doing stuff that you can hire out for, that you can delegate or you can get off of your plate. And that's exactly what I was doing. As an example, email. I was all over my email and I carried those bad habits from my 9 to 5 job because I was managing my email. I was managing my CRM. I was doing all of these mundane tasks that were sucking the time away from me, sucking the life out of me. If I could go back to my W2 job, the first thing I would have done was hire an assistant, knowing what I know now. I would have paid for it on my own dime and my income would have probably gone through the roof. And maybe, who knows, maybe I wouldn't even be talking to you right now. But that was something that I would absolutely have done. And I hired a coach. This is the funny part. When I started my real estate business, my coach, I paid a lot of money to be in a mastermind. I paid a lot of money to have coaches. I've spent over $150,000 on coaching and mentoring and masterminds over the years. Totally worth it. But a couple of times I didn't listen to the advice. And my coach told me, he said, "Hey, I would start, if I was starting today, I would have an assistant working for me 10 to 20 hours per week." And I just refused to do that. I didn't think that. I was worried about spending the money. I was worried about spending $20 to $25 per hour to get somebody to take those tasks off of my plate. Huge mistake. And it kept me stuck on that hamster wheel. And it wasn't until I started hiring people, I started scaling my business by investing in human capital, that I was able to get off that hamster wheel, do more real estate deals, and my income more than doubled. I went from about $20,000 per month to about $50,000 per month in my real estate business in a short amount of time. Once I got all of this nonsense off of my plate and I focused on what I was really good at, which was talking to sellers on the phone, getting deals under contract, and getting revenue into the business and building the business, not checking my email, not messing around with CRMs, and not doing any types of cold calls, which is what I had been doing. Once I got all this stuff off my plate, I was able to scale my business up. But I totally get why brand new business owners are fearful of that, because they're already scared to lose money. Like, you're in business, it's scary. You don't want to lose money. You don't want to make mistakes. But the big mistake is not investing in human capital and not getting the stuff off of your plate that you don't need to be doing. Okay. If you want to be, this is a formula that I would look at. So if you have aspirations of making $1 million per year, okay, what you want to do is break that down to an hourly rate, which is about $500 per hour. My math could be a little bit off, but you want to look at, hey, if I'm worth this, if I'm going for this target, okay, $500 per hour, and you're doing 10, 15, $20 an hour tasks, you need to stop doing that. You need to get that stuff off of your plate. Otherwise, you are just going to be on said hamster wheel for your entire entrepreneurial career and you will be maxed out. Think about, and I always think about this when I was in my W 2 job, I was maxed out with my income, right? So I would have just had to trade more time for dollars, which I just simply wasn't willing to do. And I didn't really have it. So in order for me to break through the plateau of my income, I would have had to have flown more, worked more, sacrificed more, and I just didn't want to do that. And it would not have been a valuable return. So that's when I said, okay, I got to get out of this. I have to do something else to where the sky's the limit on my ability to earn income. And you do that by number one, not working for somebody else. You go into business for yourself. And then number two, you build a team of people around you. And that takes a little bit of trust as well, because a lot of you are fearful of giving up control. Like if I give my email to somebody else, or if I give my CRM to somebody else, or if I give invoicing to somebody else, like they're going to mess it up. They're not going to, they're not going to do well enough. First of all, that's unfounded. And usually it's a control issue. If you train them properly, okay, and I've trained tons of VAs in my real estate career, I've had assistants. If you empower them and train them and have weekly check-ins with them, sometimes, most of the times, they usually become better at the tasks that you gave them to do than you were in the first place. This has happened to me. I've developed SOPs for all of the tasks in my real estate business and even now in my coaching business. And whenever one of my VAs was out, I remember I would have to go look at their SOP to remember how to do the task or to give it to somebody else. Like if I was covering for them, they became better at it than I was. And I taught them how to do it. So think about that. They're going to do the job if you hire the right people, empower them, and continue to give them the training and uplift them and make them part of the team. I've spent a lot of time coaching. I spent a lot of time hiring VAs. If this is something you'd help with, again, I help people do this. You can certainly book a 15-minute call with me. It's always in the show notes, so check that out there. And I'll talk to you about a recent client that I worked with. Same thing. He left his W 2 job to become his own boss, start his own business. And that was one of the first calls that we had was like, hey, who do you have working for you? Nobody. Didn't have anybody working for him. And he had a goal to go from $10,000 to $20,000 per month. And he knew that he wasn't going to get there simply by doing it all himself. And he admitted, like, yeah, I feel like a prisoner in my business, right? I'm working more hours. I'm making less money than when I was in my W-2 job. And we fixed this one thing, and already now it's not just one person, it's multiple people. And the business started to take off. And it's such a huge win because a lot of it is just simply, you have to do it. There's just a lot of fear around giving up the control, thinking that other people can do it. And then the money piece, looking at the money. So here's something that will help you out. If that's you, if you're a solopreneur and you're feeling burned out in your business, you feel like you're a W-2 employee in your business, and you're just simply afraid to invest the money, I would look at it and just say, okay, you can hire VAs for anywhere from $5 to $10 per hour to do a lot of the tasks that I just mentioned, okay, like data entry or CRM management, depending on what type of business you're in. Just think about all the stuff that you're doing on a weekly basis. If you're doing it repeatedly, you have to take that inventory, that audit, and just say, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. Like these are $10 an hour jobs. I could hire this out. This I don't need to be doing at all. And this here is something that maybe I could put a system in place. Maybe I can get an automation tool so that I don't have to hire somebody. I can just get it out of my life, right? So that I can focus on what I'm supposed to be doing, which is driving the business forward, generating revenue, getting new customers, focusing on getting more leads. That's really what you need to be focused on, and building the business so that you're not doing all of the work on the business, not in the business. And if you have identified a person, let's just say you want to hire somebody, Okay, I'm gonna grab my calculator here as we do this. So if you watch it on YouTube, you're gonna see me do this math. Let's just say you want to hire somebody to work for you for 20 hours a week. Instead of looking at it like, oh man, that's $8 an hour or $20 an hour or whatever it is, look at it as I want you to compartmentalize the whole thing. All right. So if you hire somebody $8 an hour, 20 hours per week, you're gonna get a bunch of stuff off your plate, by the way. That's $160 per week. Multiply that by the entire year, that's $8,320 for the year. That's nothing. Okay. That's an investment in your business. And you are 100% going to get that back and then some if you invested time into them. And if that scares you, then divide it by two and look at a 6-month window. And you could always say, hey, I'm going to go at this for 6 months. I'm willing to invest this money, which is, half of the 8,300 is about $4,000. I'm going to invest this money. I'm going to invest in this person. I'm going to invest my time in this person, make them part of the team. And I know that as a result of that, my revenue is going to increase because my time's going to be freed up and I'm going to be able to focus on getting more clients, building the business even more. Then all of a sudden, maybe you'll have that person scaled up to 40 hours per week. Maybe you'll add another person. Maybe you'll have 3 people. Who knows? But the more that you have to get ahead of it in the beginning. You can't just start a business and have these aspirations of income and time and freedom and only do it yourself. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It just doesn't work, especially if your goal is more time and freedom and you want to scale the business up so that you can make more money and have this thing running on autopilot so that you can go do the things that you set out to do in the beginning, traveling, spending more time with your family, a combination of that, all of the above, whatever it is that you had set out to do. You left your job because you were feeling like you were probably burned out, working too much, not getting paid enough. Don't repeat the same process. Don't bring your W-2 job into your business. So if you could look at it from that standpoint where you're just simply making this long-term investment and look at the whole picture, well, like 8 grand this year, I'm going to spend that, like budget for it. And you don't have to pull it out of the business per se. There's so many different ways to get funding for your business. If you're not learning about how to get funding for your business, that's something you need to start doing. You can get 0% credit cards that you can utilize for this specific purpose. And this is business funding. This is not on your personal name. This is business funding. There's a variety of different funding resources. Check out episode 48 of the W2 Prison Break Show with Leo Cannell, where he talks about all the different ways you can get funding for your business. All right, I want you to take these action items and start thinking about who you can add to your team. Okay. And again, if you need my help, I've done this a lot. Book your 15-minute call with me. I always leave it in the show notes. It's 100% free. And I'll help you. I'll give you some resources on where you can find people because I've hired a lot of VAs. I've trained a lot of VAs. I've had assistants. And this is not that challenging. You just need a little bit of help with this. Here's the announcement that I want to make before we wrap up here and send you off to the rest of your day is I have just recently launched an online community, W2 Prison Break Nation. Really, really excited about this. This is a community of like-minded people who want to fire their boss and become the CEO of their own business in the next 12 months. This goes for solopreneurs as well, who are feeling like they're W-2 employees in their business. So I want you to check that out, W2 Prison Break Nation. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes. Guys, I made this affordable for everyone. It's $120 per year. Yes, you heard that correctly. $120 per year for the first 25 people who sign up. It's brand new. Okay, so we got a few members in there. We're going to have weekly mastermind calls with me. You're going to get 2 45-minute strategy sessions with me free of charge. We're going to have industry experts come in every single month and talk about a variety of different topics. And the group is going to be supportive and collaborative. I want to see you guys doing deals in there. It's just simply going to be awesome. So go check that out. There's a link in the show notes, W2 Prison Break Nation. You can also go to my website, w2prisonbreak.com, and just click on that button that says Join the Nation. I hope to see you in there. Thanks for tuning in as always, and I'll see you on the next episode. Make it a great day.